What if the human mind could be controlled like a machine? During the Cold War, this wasn't just a question, it was a fear. A fear that led to one of the most disturbing programs ever, MK Ultra. Behind closed doors, thousands were secretly experimented on, all in an attempt to break and control the human mind. And even today, what remains reveals just how far governments were willing to go. The Cold War fear that started it all. After World War II ended, peace didn't last long. The world quickly divided into two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. This new conflict, known as the Cold War, was driven not just by weapons, but by ideology and intelligence. In 1947, the United States established the Central Intelligence Agency to handle global intelligence operations. Its mission was broad and powerful, allowing it to act in ways that weren't always transparent or regulated. The turning point came when U.S. officials observed what appeared to be forced confessions during Soviet trials. Prisoners admitted to crimes they clearly didn't commit, and did so in a calm, almost robotic manner. This raised a disturbing possibility. Had the Soviets discovered a way to control human thoughts? If true, the implications were massive. Enemies could extract secrets, manipulate individuals, or even turn citizens against their own country. The U.S. feared that whoever mastered mind control first would gain an unstoppable advantage. From Bluebird to MK Ultra. The CIA began experimenting with interrogation techniques under early programs like Project Bluebird and later Project Artichoke. These programs explored methods such as sleep deprivation, hypnosis, and psychological stress to manipulate individuals. But the results were disappointing. Traditional methods didn't provide reliable control, they often caused mental breakdowns instead of obedience. Everything changed in 1953. Under CIA Director Allen Dulles, a new program was launched, MK Ultra. It would become one of the most secretive and controversial operations in intelligence history. The man behind the experiments. At the center of MK Ultra was Sidney Gottlieb, a brilliant chemist with an unconventional mind. Despite physical challenges early in life, Gottlieb excelled academically, earning a PhD in biochemistry and eventually joining the CIA's Technical Services Division. He believed that controlling the human mind required a two-step process, first breaking it down, then rebuilding it with new thoughts. But achieving this was far more complex than expected. Gottlieb turned to chemicals, specifically psychoactive drugs, as a potential solution. The LSD experiments. Among all substances tested, one stood out: LSD. Originally developed in Switzerland, LSD had powerful effects on perception and consciousness. Gottlieb believed it could unlock the secret to mind control. He even tested it on himself before launching widespread experiments. Soon, the CIA began administering LSD to a wide range of subjects: prison inmates, mental health patients, military personnel, ordinary civilians. In many cases, these individuals had no idea they were part of an experiment. Some were given repeated doses for days, weeks, or even months. In one instance, subjects were exposed to LSD daily for over 2 months. The effects were unpredictable, ranging from hallucinations and paranoia to long-term psychological damage. Instead of creating control, the drug often caused chaos. Operation Midnight Climax. One of the most bizarre chapters of MK Ultra was Operation Midnight Climax. In this operation, the CIA set up safe houses disguised as apartments. Women were hired to lure unsuspecting men into these locations where they were secretly given LSD. Behind one-way mirrors, agents observed and recorded their behavior. The goal was to study how drugs could be used in real-world scenarios, particularly for interrogation or manipulation. But the operation revealed little about mind control. Instead, it exposed the ethical boundaries being crossed. Human beings were treated as tools, not individuals. The tragedy of Frank Olson. Perhaps the most haunting story linked to MK Ultra is the death of Frank Olson. Olson was a scientist working with the CIA who became increasingly disturbed by what he witnessed. During a retreat, he was unknowingly given LSD. The experience deeply affected him. In the days that followed, Olson showed signs of severe psychological distress. He expressed regret about his work and seemed fearful and paranoid. Then, in November 1953, he fell or was pushed from a hotel window in New York City. The official explanation claimed it was either suicide or an accident. But inconsistencies in the story raised questions that persist to this day. Years later, investigations revealed that Olson had been part of an unwitting LSD experiment. His family spent decades searching for the truth, suspecting that his death was not as simple as it seemed. A program without limits. At its peak, MKUltra included over 100 sub-projects operating across universities, hospitals, prisons, and secret facilities worldwide. Researchers explored everything from sensory deprivation and hypnosis to extreme psychological conditioning. In some experiments, subjects were placed in isolation for extended periods or subjected to repeated audio messages while in drug-induced states. One particularly controversial method, known as psychic driving, involved putting patients into comas and repeatedly playing messages to reshape their thoughts. These experiments often caused lasting harm and, in some cases, death. Despite the scale and severity, progress toward actual mind control remained minimal. The program begins to collapse. By the early 1960s, doubts about MKUltra were growing. The CIA began to realize that the original fear that the Soviets had mastered mind control was likely exaggerated. The program had produced no reliable method for controlling thoughts or behavior. At the same time, the risks were becoming harder to ignore. The ethical violations, potential scandals, and lack of results made the program increasingly difficult to justify. Eventually, MKUltra was scaled down and quietly discontinued. But the story didn't end there. The cover-up and exposure. In 1973, as political pressure mounted during the Watergate scandal, CIA Director Richard Helms ordered the destruction of MKUltra records. Thousands of documents were eliminated, erasing much of the program's history. However, not everything was destroyed. In the mid-1970s, investigations by journalists and government committees began uncovering details about illegal CIA activities. Reports revealed that the agency had conducted experiments on American citizens without their knowledge. Later, a Freedom of Information Act request uncovered thousands of surviving documents, exposing the scale of MKUltra. Public reaction was intense. Trust in government institutions dropped sharply as people learned the truth. The legacy of MKUltra. In the end, MKUltra failed to achieve its primary goal. There was no breakthrough in mind control, no revolutionary technique that could manipulate human thoughts with precision. But the consequences were real. Thousands of lives were affected. Some suffered long-term psychological damage. Others never recovered. And in cases like Frank Olson's, the truth may never be fully known. The program also left a lasting mark on public perception. It became a symbol of how power, fear, and secrecy can lead to dangerous decisions. A chilling reminder. MKUltra is more than just a historical program. It's a warning. It shows what can happen when scientific curiosity is combined with unchecked authority. When fear drives decisions, ethics can quickly disappear. The idea of controlling the human mind may still exist in fiction, but the real story of MKUltra proves something even more unsettling. Sometimes, the most dangerous experiments aren't about controlling people. They're about what people are willing to do to each other. This story is not just history, it's a reminder of how far power can go when no one is watching. And maybe even today, not everything is as transparent as we think. If this made you question reality even a little, make sure to like and subscribe, because the next story might be even darker.